Hi, today we're going to read Would I Be Shrived by John D. Swain. If you want to see the rest of the poems in this playlist, there's a link in the notes below. Also, at the end of this video, there's going to be some related content. Please like and share this video. You can subscribe using the button in the corner of the screen. And if you want to see subtitles, just hit CC during the poem. John D. Swain is a poet who's not well known, and I don't know when he lived and died, but this particular poem, Would I Be Shrived, which is alternatively called Ballade of François Villon as he was about to die, was first published in 1903. The poem begins with a short prose prologue and ends with a little parting verse which is called an envoy. François Villon, being about to die, a worthy friar would fain have shrived him, and did earnestly exhort him that he should confess him at this time of those acts of his life which he did regret. Villon bade him return yet again, that he might have time to bethink him of his sins. Upon the good father's return, Villon was dead, but by his side were the following verses, his last, wherein he set forth those things which he did regret. Whereat the friar was sore grieved, and hid them away amid the manuscripts of his abbey, showing them to no man, yet they were found in some wise. The name of the friar and the very place where stood the abbey are forgot, but the verses have endured unto this day. I, François Villon, ta'en at last to the rude bed where all must lie, fain would forget the turbid past, and lay me down in peace to die. Would I be shrived? Ah, can I tell? My sins but trifles seem to be, nor worth the dignity of hell. If not, then ill avails it me to name them one and all, and yet there be some things which I regret. The sack of abbeys, many a brawl, a score of knife thrusts in the dark, forced oft by fate against the wall, and years in dungeons, cold and stark. These crimes and pains seem far away, now that I come at length to die. 'Tis idle for the past to pray, 'tis hopeless for the past to sigh. These are a troubled dream, and yet for them I have but scant regret. The toil my mother lived to know, what years I lay in gyves for debt, a pretty song heard long ago, where I know not, when I forget. The crust I once kept for my own, though all too scant for my poor use. The friend I left to die alone, pardie the watchman pressed us close. Trifles against my crimes to set, yet these are all which I regret. Captains and cutthroats, not a few, and maidens fair of many a clime have named me friend in the wild past, when as we wallowed in the slime. Gamblers and rogues and clever thieves and unfrocked priests, a sorry crew, how stubbornly the memory cleaves to all who have befriended you. I drain a cup to them, and yet 'tis not for such I feel regret. My foundered horse, who died for me, nor whip nor spur was his, I ween, that day the hangman looked to see poor Villon, earth and sky between. A mongrel cur, who shared my lot 3 bitter winters on the Ile. He held the rabble off, God wot, one time I cheated in the deal. 'Twas but an instant while I fled down a vile alley known to me. Back in the tavern he lay dead, the gamblers raged, but I went free. Humble, poor brutes at best, and yet they are the friends whom I regret. And eke the lilies were ablow through all the sunny fields of France. I marked one whiter than the snow, and would have gathered it perchance, had not some trifle I forget. A bishop's lute, a cask of wine filched from some cabaret, a bet, distracted this wild head of mine. A childish fancy this, and yet it is a thing that I regret. Again I rode through Picardy, what time the vine was in the bud. A little maiden smiled on me. I might have kissed her, and I would. I've known 1,000 maidens since, and many have been kind to me. I've never seen one quite so fair as she that day in Picardy. Ashes of roses, these, and yet they are the things which I regret. One perfect lily grew for me and blossomed on another's breast. Others have clasped little hands whose rosy palms I might have pressed. So as I die, my wasted youth mocks my dim eyne and fading breath. Still I have lived, and having lived, that much is mine. I mock at death. I should confess, you say, but yet for life alone have I regret. Envoy. O bubbles of the vanished wine, to which my lips were never set. O lips that dimpled close to mine, whose ruddy warmth I never met. Father, but trifles these, and yet they are the things which I regret.